Amnesias. You don't need me to tell you retrograde is in the past, antegrade is in the future. However, it is important because when it comes to Korsakoff Syndrome, they're going to give you a question about this man. He's an alcoholic, and he's not really remembering anything, and he can't make any new memories, and it's going to lead you into the direction of Korsakoff Syndrome. They love testing B1 deficiencies. They love testing it's the mammillary bodies. Whenever you see an alcoholic, whenever you see someone with any sort of confabulations, whenever you see someone who has bad memory, always think Korsakoff Syndrome. But we'll get into that later when we talk about Wernicke's encephalopathy and Korsakoff Syndrome kind of together. Dissociative disorders. Depersonalization. Best way to think about it is you're in a third-person view, kind of like if you're in a third-person video game. You see yourself full-bodied, whereas in normal life, everything's first-person. You don't see like the back of your head and your back and kind of your Grand Theft Auto point of view thing. This is different from dissociative or any sort of dissociation, where you really have no connection to yourself. So depersonalization kind of feels like you're like a ghost outside of your own body. Dissociative amnesia, something hits you so hard, maybe it's a stressor, maybe it's whatever, but you go from who you are with all these experiences in here to literally to a blank slate. A couple pages before we talked about, or I had mentioned, dissociative fugue in terms of what happens sometimes with dissociation. Here, as an immature defense. You have no memory of any traumatic event. Everything about you is different. Your personality, all these changes. There's a movie with Gina Davis, and it's by Shane Black. What's it called? It's with the Pulp Fiction guy, Samuel L. Jackson. It's like the long kiss goodnight or something. She goes through this, but no one cares. Anyway, dissociative amnesia, you're completely dissociated from who you are. No memory, blank slate. Sometimes you go walking for days, weeks. They find you 50 miles away in a different town, in a different state. And of course, multiple personality disorder, you don't have to do too much thinking about that. It's pretty straightforward. All right, delirium, waxing and waning. That's the big thing. It's reversible. Why? Usually secondary to something else. Some CNS disease, substance abuse, metabolic and electrolyte disturbances. They love this. Remember in the last thing, we talked about hypoglycemia. They love testing on that. Oh my goodness. But this is waxing and waning and reversible. A stark contrast to dementia, which is typically a slow downhill, you're not really going to get better sort of thing. So what do? What do they love testing you on? Well, you don't want to be in super stimulating environments. That's one of the reasons why hospitals are very neutral. You don't have all this bright, colorful, painting everywhere. You don't have all these bright pinks and neon lights going everywhere in hospitals. You want to keep everything cool, calm, collected. So what do? Keep a clock nearby so people know the date or the time. Keep a calendar for the date. I've actually seen patients or have nurses write on the wall, "Hey, Bob, it is May the 5th. Your daughter is coming later today. You had a bit of a blah, blah, blah. We'll be with you in a second." So that way, if they ever go in and out of this delirium, they read it and they're like, "Oh, this makes a little bit more sense," or something. Do not restrain them unnecessarily. That just freaks people out even more. If someone's in some sort of delirious state and they're attached to the bed, who knows what someone's thinking. They're going to try and get out. So you use soft restraints as possible. Obviously, don't do any drugs that can worsen things. As needed, antipsychotics. Okay.